We've all been told the same lie about genius. We're taught it's a lightning bolt, a eureka moment that only happens to people born with a different kind of brain. We look at people like Elon Musk or Marie Curie and think, I'm just not wired like that. But what if I told you that genius isn't a gift you're born with? It's actually a pattern you can map? Today, we're stripping away the myth of the high IQ and looking at the messy human psychology of how brilliant minds actually work. Because once you see the pattern, you realize that extraordinary thinking isn't a restricted club. It's a set of mental habits you can actually start using today. When we hear the word genius, our brains usually go straight to IQ scores. We think of 140 or above as the golden ticket. But here's the twist that psychologists discovered. IQ is just the engine. It doesn't matter how big your engine is if you don't know how to steer the car. The more meaningful science shows that true brilliance is a constellation of traits, a mix of intelligence, creativity, grit, and the ability to see things that everyone else is ignoring. It's not just smarts, it's how you use them. One of the most consistent patterns researchers have found is that brilliant minds don't just solve problems, they generate new ones. This comes down to a style of thinking called divergent thinking. Think of it as a possibility muscle. Instead of looking for the one right answer to a question, a brilliant mind asks, how many different ways can I break this? They explore possibilities, they hold contradictions, and they reach across totally different fields to make connections that others overlook. But there's more to it than just creative thinking. Brilliant minds share an insatiable, almost restless curiosity. They never settle with what they know. They question assumptions, not for attention or praise, but because they feel compelled to understand how the gears of the world actually turn. And here's where it gets really human. Most of us hate being wrong. We crave certainty and clarity, but geniuses, they actually thrive in the gray area. They feel energized by the messiness of not having the answer yet. This same curiosity often drives them to embrace solitude. It's not that they're necessarily loners, it's that solitude is the only place they can think without interruption, where the mind can drift into deep, nuanced layers of thought that social noise just doesn't allow. This is why you'll find them lost in books, experiments, or sketches long after everyone else has moved on. Another pattern that shows up again and again is the balance between chaos and discipline. Geniuses often embrace wide-ranging, loose connections and ambiguity, but they also bring order to that chaos through relentless persistence and rigorous structure. It's a dance between two types of thinking: divergent thinking to generate the wild ideas, and convergent thinking to narrow those ideas down into a meaningful solution. Truly brilliant minds weave the two together to build something that never existed before. But here's an important truth that often gets lost in the glamour. Extraordinary thinking rarely emerges from ease. It comes from staying in the room with a problem long after everyone else has gotten bored and gone home. It doesn't always strike as a sudden flash of insight. Most of the time, it grows out of years of immersion, frustration, and repeated failure. What characterizes these minds is the ability to see beyond the conventional, to hold multiple perspectives at once, and tolerate ambiguity without panicking. What this all points to is that genius is not a simple trait you either have or you don't. It's a pattern of cognition, a set of mental habits, and an emotional tolerance for the unknown. It's how someone engages with information and complexity over time. So, what does this mean for you? It means that extraordinary thinking isn't reserved for a mythical few. It means that the patterns behind genius, curiosity, divergent thinking, and persistence are trainable. Not every genius will change the world, but every mind can grow in depth and creativity. Because at the end of the day, genius isn't only about what you know, it's about how you think. That is the pattern that truly makes a mind stand out.